Honorable members, please turn to pages 112 and 113. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, Program 131, current expenditure. And I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahito.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. And let me say a pleasant good morning to everyone. And join with you, sir, with your leave, to welcome the students of Success Elementary and Charlestown Secondary. My child is a product of Success Elementary, and the very teacher that is accompanying the students here is one of his teachers who did an exceptional job, and I'm grateful. So knowing that, I plan to be on my best behavior. So,
yes, you can use the C word that ends with S. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Chairman, I turn your attention to line item 6116. There is an increased allocation there from 97,673,000 to 147,788,000. And I also see an increase in the staff from 27 to 30. May I ask the Honorable Minister for the designation and salaries and benefits of the 3 new contracted employees?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. May I ask, and with your permission, be able to sit? It's a very long day, and I'll have to go through several regions. I also like to welcome the students from both schools here today on behalf of the government of Guyana. We welcome you in the House of the National Assembly, and we hope that you will be not only entertained, but you will learn a lot from this session. In relation to the question asked by the honorable member and line item 6116, the variation on 2025 allocation is explained by the 10% increase and appointment of the 3 staff. And in 2024, the 3 staff would have been the appointment of 1 communications officer, a vehicle driver, and 1 program manager.
All right, member, Mr. Maipol.
Thank you, sir. May I ask for the salaries and benefits of the program manager and the communications officer?
The communications officer, who moved from the Ministry of Public Service to the Ministry of Local Government, is at 413,000 with the same package. And the program manager moved from the Guyana Online Academy of Learning to local government at the same package, 462.
Thank you, Minister.
Sorry?
462,000, she said?
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I turn the Honorable Minister's attention to line item 6284, other?
Go ahead.
There is an increase there from 14,771,000 to 26,826,000. May I ask the Honorable Minister, what does the increase cater for?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Honorable Member. This would account for provision for placement of procurement notices, advertisements. It's the advertisements on the television, the radio programs. You have identification cards for replacement of new IDs for staff at the ministry, as well as provision for marking of additional assets procured under the ministry's portfolio. We have provision for the renewal of domain. We have provision caters for purchasing of office-related software to carry out operations.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I have a follow-up on that same line? In last year's answer for the expenditure of the 14,771,000, that also catered for the new ID cards for staff, for ministry staff. Am I to understand, sir, that that project did not happen last year and is now catered for in this year's budget?
Minister.
Mr. Chair, it's our yearly renewal of the ID card. So we would have to do it again this year.
Member Mahipal. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 131, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 114 and 15. And just to let the teachers and the students know what we're doing, uh, what we're doing here is for the budget before any money can be spent by the government. It has to pass the National Assembly. And we are now doing the expenses, which is in the budget by the Honorable Senior Minister of Finance and the Public Service has prepared, and we have to pass it. If there's a no vote with the majority, then the expense cannot be incurred by the government. And so members will ask the minister questions to justify the expenditure. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for program 133, regional development current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I turn your attention to line item 6116, contracted employees. There is an increase there of 14 contracted employees. May I ask the Honorable Minister for the designation of those 14 and the first three in terms of their highest in terms of their salaries and benefits.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have of the 14 employees, one chief regional, 11 community development officers, one senior regional development officer that has moved from P4 to program 4 to 6116. One engineer moved to program 4, 6116.
Member Mahipal.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, from the volume 2 of the estimates for targets in 2025, the ministry is expected to improve 4 existing infrastructure. May I ask the Honorable Minister to name the 4 infrastructure scheduled to be improved in 2025?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have the border green, the border market, and we have a few more on board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, border market is one of the 4. May I ask the name of the other 3 infrastructure
Minister.
that is listed in the program 2?
Okay. So we have the border green, we have the border market, and it's under the Georgetown enhancement program, and we also have the East La Penitence market and drainage and All Boys Town. So it's actually in excess of.
Minister, when you said All Boys Town, it mean the Penitence Market? Yeah, okay. Though it's in All Boys
Mr.
Town,
Chair, some people will call it All Boys Town and some will call it the Penitence, but yes, it's referring to the Penitence market.
So may I ask, and I heard the Honorable Minister saying that it falls on the capital project of, and when we get there, we will deal with that, the Georgetown Enhancement Program. But given that there is four infrastructure, and we have the border market, East La Penitence, or All Boys Town, and a drainage network, may I ask the Minister if the Stabrook market falls in the same area and the East Rumvelt market?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have the rehabilitation of the Stabrook Market as well as the East Rum Belt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think I'm finished there. I think Comrade Lawrence wants a question. Thank you.
Honorable Member Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, all. Mr. Chair, may I continue to sit?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, you said border market and you also said border green. Are you going to be working on both areas? And if so, what are you going to be doing?
Honorable Minister.
Let me apologize, sir. So we have a consultancy for the border green, and we have a construction of the border green. So it's two different things for the border green market.
Follow up, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, MP.
Honorable Minister, what are you constructing on Border Green? It's an open space with stalls. What are you constructing?
Minister.
So, thank you very much. To maximize on the space for the border green, and there was a consultation that was held with vendors of the border green area by both the ministry as well as His Excellency before the ministry had that, and the vendors indicated they wanted a space, a proper space to utilize for the border green to maximize on space and include any other thing other than the vegetables and greens area. We wanted to see if perhaps we can put at least a two-story building there to accommodate vendors.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 133, Regional Development, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 116 and 17. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 134, Local Government Development, current expenditure stands part of the estimates.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman.
Go ahead, Honorable.
Comrade Chairman, I turn your attention to line item 6112, Senior Technical. We see a decrease in the sum there from 15,183,000 to 12,834,000. However, in the staffing details, we see it remaining as 3 staff as of that of 2024. May I ask the Honorable Minister, why is there a decrease in the total wages and salaries for 6112?
Thank you
Honorable
very
Minister.
much, Mr. Chair. Honorable member, one staff was moved from program 134, that's under 6112, to program 133 under 6112.
Thank you,
And there was
Minister.
a promotion in addition to that in program 134 6112.
So may I ask for
Go
the
ahead.
follow-up? May I ask for the designation of the staff that was promoted, and if the salary of that staff is higher than the one that moved or lower than the one that moved?
Honorable Minister.
Municipal Service Officer 1 to Municipal Service Officer 2 from 136,000 to 178,000. And the staff alignment 1 coordinator of health moved to the program 3 6112.
Thank you, Minister. Member
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I move to line item 6294?
Yes.
Other, there's an increase from 1,342,962,000 to 1,612,962,000. Sir, I am aware that this line caters for the operational expenses for our landfill sites. May I ask the Honorable Minister to disaggregate this sum and specify the amount that will be spent at each landfill site in Guyana?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As you know, solid waste management has been a burning issue throughout the country, and we wanted to be able to create that space. And the government has actually, although not the mandate of the Ministry of Local Government, but it is through the rates and taxes from any municipality or NDCs, and the honorable member would know this as well, that these either for the space for disposal or for garbage collection is usually the mandate of these LDOs. But the ministry taking it upon itself based, and again, on consultations and outreaches with various groups of persons and the densely populated communities, the ministry had started to create that space in terms of landfill sites to accommodate the disposal of garbage. And it is a rather I think it's development in any community to be able to, when you're creating new schemes, and especially when these schemes are very populated, that you have that designated area for the disposal of garbage. And so with the ministry and thankfully the investment of the government as well as the Minister of Finance, ensuring that we are well equipped financially to contribute to this, we have several landfill sites that are in operation. From 2020 to 2024, we would have created 13 landfill sites across the country. And just last year, we would have been able to give a very nearby region, such as Region 5, the opportunity to have a landfill site for the first time in Blairmont, Region 5, to accommodate the disposal of garbage. And so these sites, we have to cater for the operation of these sites after they're created. And then you would have rollovers, multi-year operational rollovers for these landfill sites, and that would include the Luzignan municipal landfill, Letem municipal landfill, Bartica municipal landfill, Rose Hall municipal landfill, 5263 municipal landfill, Caracara municipal landfill, Zorgenvleit in Region 2, Enterprise East Kanji, Carivaton, Bellevue, Blairmont, Esplanade. And then we have on board, we want to be able to create new landfill sites in 2025. And so we will have the operation services of Hags Bosch, Luzignan. These again are those from before: Esplanade, Madia, Nurni, Letem, Caracara, Zorgenvleit. This is in addition to rollovers. Now, we also cater for the waste management education awareness program that we really want to um, really want to have that program be rolled out in a more robust way this year, because if we are going to be investing in solid waste management as we have been, and more substantially this year, we want to be able to, and we have the national cleanup exercises that is supposed to create a wave where you have the people in the communities, residents, taking responsibility for their own environment. We want to be able to carry out that education awareness on solid waste management in the communities. So while we're investing heavily through this program, and it will be also to create several new landfill sites in various areas, regions, such as Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. We are creating new landfill sites in 2025. We want to be able to ensure that we also equip the local democratic organs with the capacity to contribute to the collection of garbage, the disposal of garbage, and to ensure that we have that education awareness on littering in the communities, and putting bins in the communities, etc.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, a follow-up. Is it that the ministry is directly managing these landfill sites with their 26 employees, or is it that contracts are given out for the management of these landfill sites?
Honorable
The
Minister.
operations of the landfill sites are through contracted persons. However, the general oversight and supervision is still coming from the employees at the Ministry of Local Government.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. May I ask the Honorable Minister to name the contractors that are associated with the existing 13 landfill sites
Honorable Minister.
and their contracted sum, sir?
We don't have that entire list with us, and we do not want to be calling names right off of our heads right now. So that can become available.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I will appreciate if the minister can also provide the associated sum to each one of these contractors for the 13 landfill sites. May I ask the minister further, sir, what is the period that they were contracted for each one of the landfill sites?
Minister,
18 months for the smaller sites and 12 months for Hawksbush.
So may I ask, sir, thank you very much, what is the beginning period for each one of the 13? So at least I will know when the 18 months and 12 months
Well,
respectively comes
it
to a close.
Minister.
thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It varies because the operations for these landfill sites are not just given out willy-nilly by the ministry. It goes through a national tender board process and a national bidding process. And so after that is done, depending on when that bid is out and finished, then we varies according the contract time will vary.
Yes, sir, I am very well aware of that. Thank you very much. But we have 13 sites that are existing. And on the basis of these 13 sites that are existing, these contracts were already awarded for these 13 sites because it's a rollover process, as the minister outlined, with finances in 2025 to compensate the work that had already begun in 2024. So may I ask the Honorable Minister if she can lay it over, because I believe it may not be in our possession at this point in time, the list of the 13 contractors, their associated sums, and the periods that they were contracted to manage these landfill sites.
Minister,
Well, as you know, we don't have anything to hide, please, Mr. Chair. So these things again were um, national went through a national tender process, and they would have won their award through a fair bidding process. And so we have nothing to hide in terms of who have gotten landfill sites and have been operating. So we can make that information available. And what we also have, and I want to remind the honorable member, because I know he knows this information already, and I'm not sure why he wants it again, but this information is that that even if a contract period is given, say in August, you will definitely have a rollover in terms of that contract period going to the next year if it's 12 months or 18 months, because it's definitely going to be the next year that's going to end. And then we also have monies or provisions in the budget now to cater for a retendering of the operations. So everything is going through a pretty fair process and a very organized in a very organized way. Thank you.
thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do agree that there is a tender board process that these projects go through. Whether it's fair, that's another problem. Sir, may I go to the same line item from the allocated sum, sir, which is increased from 1.343 billion to 1.613 billion. May I ask the Honorable Minister, how does the ministry plan to ensure that the Higgs Bosch landfill site can sustainably handle both municipal and industrial waste, considering the increase in the waste volumes, particularly from large-scale oil and gas projects?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. We are constructing a new waste cell, municipal waste cell, as well as a hazardous waste cell.
May I ask if that is cell 3, or are you constructing another one, cell 4?
Minister,
One is cell three, it's two separate things. One is a cell three, and we'll have a hazardous waste cell separate from that.
So may I ask, cell 3 began construction last year, if I'm not mistaken. May I ask what is the percentage in terms of its completion at this current stage?
Minister,
It's about 95%, please, sir, completed.
Thank you, sir. So is there any measure, sir, any specific measure, follow-up, in terms of preventing overcapacity within the year of 2024, noting that the Higgs Bosch landfill site was expected to take off about 300 tons of waste, but it's handling somewhere around 700 tons.
Minister?
Right. So thank you very much. We had the foresight to see that with the waste that is being generated throughout the communities as well as industrial, through the industrial sector, that we would necessarily need more space. That is why we are actually creating two new landfill sites in Region 4 to accommodate, which we have already identified one that will be the extension of the current Luzignan site to be able to accommodate the excess waste or excess than what we have now.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the Honorable Minister pointed out that they're constructing, or they're identified rather, two new sites for Region 4, Luzignan being one. May I ask for the second one?
We're consulting with lands and surveyors who has been very active and very proactive in assisting us with identifying lands that will be suitable for the establishment of a landfill site. So we are consulting with them on the second.
Thank you. Sir, uh, we see, or may I ask this question first, sir? Can the Honorable Minister tell us the period it took for cell 2, which would give us a projection as to how long cell 3 will last us?
Minister?
It was projected to have a life capacity or a capacity of about 4 years, our lifespan of about 4 years. But by the end of 2025, we will see that it may be at its capacity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, given that there is a construction for um, the hazardous waste, and considering the significant reliance on the Higgs-Bosch landfill site for both hazardous and non-hazardous waste disposal, and the potential strain on the infrastructure due to the increased waste from ExxonMobil's project, how is the ministry ensuring that the environmental impact of the landfill operation, especially concerning the surrounding communities, knowing that we have growing development in the area, and also a road is running through that area, sir? The people at Farm and even at Eccles area, they're subject to a stench, and that stench was there since last year. I must admit it is not as heavy as it was last year. But what does the ministry have in place in terms of their monitoring for this environmental impact to be mitigated?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. And the honorable member has, I'm not sure whether he spent some time at the actual landfill site. Seems so.
I did.
But but we are catering in our budget for the environmental monitoring of the landfill sites, water, air, and quality testing. And a very small amount of treated waste goes to the landfills.
Thank you.
From Exxon, let me be clear, from Exxon, a very small amount. So irrespective of your view that the Exxon is dumping a lot of its waste there, that is not so. So we don't want that to be misled or misinformation going out into the public that that is so. A very small amount of treated waste from Exxon is going there, but we already have injected in this budget, allocated in this budget for the monitoring of the waste in terms of the environmental issues that it will create, which will be water, air, and quality testing.
Member,
So,
Mahipal?
yes, sir. Sir, may I ask, from this allocated sum, is the ministry focusing on staff enhancement, particularly for the monitoring of the Higgs-Bosch landfill site, to guarantee operational efficiency and safety standards, considering the hazardous waste that is coming at this landfill site also, sir?
Minister?
Thank you very much. We already have four qualified staff at the landfill, and we have a senior environmental officer and a junior environmental officer who are well qualified to work in this particular area.
Thanks, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May
Member?
I ask the Honorable Minister follow up, sir? So the Luzignan landfill site, which we are moving to expand based on the answer provided by the Honorable Minister, that site is currently underperforming. It's underperforming, sir, because it was set up to accept 300 tons of waste and is accepting about 100 tons of waste. May I ask what measures will be put in place to get that landfill site to function at maximum capacity so that the additional waste there will not be a burden to the Higgs Bosch landfill site? Shut up.
Minister?
Well, I don't know that the Lusignan landfill site is underperforming. I mean, very often the ministry is in contact with the contractors to ensure that even if you do hear of something, that they rectify immediately. And I know they have been doing that, and I know that they have been in operations. Now, we want to, when I said that we are going to create a new landfill site, it's not adjoining the current landfill site. It's going to be a whole new area down at the back of Lusignan, an extended portion. So that is going to be acres and hundreds of acres of land that will be able to take off that waste that you so speak of. And the idea too is to take off the burden, yes, of Hogs Bush. So that's why we want to be able to create um, I mean, if we're looking into the future of the country in terms of transformation and the amount of housing schemes that will be created, the amount of investment that will be made in terms of companies in industries, etc. We know that the current landfill site, and we are. That's why we're also catering so heavily. I'm very thankful that this year the allocation has been very substantial to permit us to do that. And so we are going to be able to create a large landfill site at Lusignan plus another area in Fort to not have the burden be carried by the Higgs Bosch area landfill, as well as the current Lusignan landfill site will continue to be in operation at least for 2025, and then we will decide what to do based on the creation of the other one.
Thank you,
Sir, a
Minister.
follow-up.
Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, what is the
Honorable
tonnage?
Member, Mr. Maipol, just allow me to let MP uh, Dionarayan Ramsurup to come in. He wants to follow up. MP,
I have a follow-up to this.
you have the floor. MP Figuera, if you could take off your
Thank
mic.
you.
No, no, take. Yes, MP Ramsrup. Okay, Maipol, you may, honorable member, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, based on the answer provided by the Honorable Minister, may I ask what is the tonnage of waste Lusignan landfill site is supposed to take off per day?
Minister?
They were built for capacity to take off waste.
It takes off. I'm not sure whether you know, but the Lusignan landfill site is not a sanitary landfill site, right? It's an inherent landfill site. And so what happens is that it takes off about, if I'm to give you tonnage, but I'll give you by trucks, it's about 60 to 75 truckloads of per day.
Thanks, Minister.
Sir,
MP Maipol.
thank you, sir. This is in keeping with the very information that 5 trucks per day.
See,
Sir,
I told you this government tells the truth. We tell the truth all the
but
time.
it was supposed to take
So you
off
have the
more.
same information that we
But
have.
honorable members, if a member knows what it is, what are you trying to do? Conform it or trap somebody?
No, sir,
Some of
what
the
I'm
honorable
trying to
people in
do.
here, honorable member Mr. Guerra.
This,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is why I said earlier, I am sure the honorable member knew the answer to some of these things. So I'm not sure why he's trying to get what he's trying to get again.
Honorable
Question.
member Mr. Figuera.
Thank you, Correct Chair. Minister, you would have indicated that Region 10 is earmarked for a new landfill site. Has the site been identified already? And if so, where would that site be?
Minister,
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We are working with NISIL and Lands and Surveys to identify that site, but there was a suggestion of a potential area at Aichuni, but we're having a relook at that because we want it to be within a distance, of course, that is reachable and be able to take off waste very easily, I mean, in terms of time span, and also away from residents and away from area that we don't want environmental issues.
Would you
So
be up to the idea of engaging the municipality as well as some local leaders who are aware of several potential sites of which such a land site could go?
Minister?
they, well, I'm advised by the staff that they did engage the municipality last year, which is 2024. But given that these agencies would have the ultimate say in terms of what land can be transferred, what you do have available, I think we start with them and then we can move towards that consultation.
Thank you. Let's try MP Ramsrup again. You're online, sir. MP, we're not hearing your microphone if it's on mute.
It's on mute, sir.
Go ahead. We're hearing you.
Right. So the Honorable Minister mentioned several landfill sites that will be developed throughout the country. And my question to her, Mr. Speaker, is that does the ministry have a policy to convert these waste into energy? Because I know Guyana is going to be growing. There's a lot of waste going to come. And secondly, sir, those waste poses a threat to the water table on the coastal land because it is not wise to be dumping all this garbage in the open moor site. We have to come up with policy. So I'm asking if the minister have a policy in the ministry to, in the future or this year, as to convert those waste into energy.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with a part of the question that's asking about the new landfill sites. So we do plan to have all the new landfill sites as a double liner landfill sites, and they will all be sanitary landfill sites. Then in relation to policy that is developed in relation to these landfill sites and waste to energy, the government has been looking and exploring. However, we believe that the private sector should invest in that, and we are looking to see who would be able to work along with the waste to energy project or facility. So
Right.
it's not something that is outside of a discussion point.
Thank you, Minister. Member Mahipon.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, I'm moving to line item 6321, which speaks to subsidies and contributions to local organizations. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister from this sum if she can provide the salaries and wages, or the salaries and benefits rather, for the chairman and secretary of the local government commission?
Honorable Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, I think, yes, last year this question was asked, and I also think that the honorable member, just like knowing the amount of trucks that were going into Lusiknan, he already has that information and is now trying to get that information from us. But I'm not going to say what that information is today. But I can tell you that the budgeted sum for 2025 for the local government provision is made for the assistance to the commission with recurrent charges to aid in their daily operations in order to carry out its function effectively. And that is 197,278,000.
Thank you,
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, yes, I did ask the question last year, but it was not answered. And again this year, it is not answered. The salaries and benefits for the chairman and secretary. Sarah,
We
follow
have
up,
to
please.
we have to distinguish between the answer you want to hear and the answer provided by the minister. I don't know where is right and wrong.
Sir, may I have a follow-up, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, when will the local government commission be sworn in?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know that there've always been a disconnect in the opposition in terms of the members, but the government has already kick-started that process, and we've actually, according to the law, written to the office of the leader of the opposition ages ago. So there was no response to it.
Sir, for the record, the leader of the opposition responded to the letter and made the nominations of 3 members. And to date, there is no correspondence regarding the swearing-in ceremony. The question, sir, when will the local government commission be sworn in?
Thank you, MP.
Mr. Speaker, I am going to reiterate my answer. The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, who wrote to the office of the opposition up to days ago, stated that she did not receive a response from the opposition leader. I will not come to this house ill-equipped with information, please, sir.
Thank you, Minister. Member Mahipol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, the office of the leader of the opposition responded to that request, and I'm finished here with current. But I see my honorable colleague has a...
Member Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to take the minister back to 6294 and ask the minister what is the present position with the Bellevue landfill site on the east bank of Berbice, and whether there is any allocation in this year's budget for further development and use.
Thank you very much, honorable member. So there was a bridge that needed to be reconstructed before we started the operation. So that bridge has been reconstructed, and we're going to start the operations in 2025 for the Bellevue.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 134 current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please turn to page 496. Members, I've been very lax with respect to cell phone use in the chamber, but it's getting a bit ridiculous now. Honorable members, page 496, and I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 131, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Oh, my apologies, sir. This is the first program, 131. Sorry, I don't have any
Honorable
questions.
members, I put a question that the sum stated for Program 131, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated stands part of the estimates. Program 133, and I propose the question that the sum stated herein, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Project code 1904-100. Provision for enhancement initiatives. And I am guided by the description as the project entails provisions for markets and drainage network. Earlier, sir, when I asked a question on program 2, the Honorable Minister indicated that there are 4 projects or 4 infrastructure to be enhanced, and she was kind enough to say Border Green, Border Market, East La Penitence or Alboy Stone Market, Stabrook Market, and also drainage network. May I ask the Honorable Minister to disaggregate the $2.725 billion and say the specific sum that is allocated to each one of these projects?
Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So we want to look at, in terms of the drainage network, we're looking at $2 billion. In terms of, and let me just correct, because I had previously corrected it when the Honorable Member Valda Lawrence had asked a question in relation to the border market. I'm talking about 2 phases of the border green. So I just want to put that on record, 2 phases of the border green, a consultancy, and then there's a phase 1. So we have the design and supervision, which is the consultancy of the border green, $40 million. Construction of the phase 1 border green, $260 million. Rehabilitation of the East Rumpelt Market, $50 million. Rehabilitation of La Penitence, municipal or all boys town as we know it, 100 million. Construction of a green space at Merriman's Mall, 75 million. And rehabilitation of Stabrook Market at 200 million.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr.
MP?
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask, and this is specific to Georgetown, may I ask the Honorable Minister if there will be a collaboration between the ministry and the mayor and city councillors of Georgetown in the execution of these projects?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. There has always been a consultation with the Georgetown municipality. It's not just the mayor, but we do have councillors on both sides of the house sitting on that mayor and city council, and we try to engage as much persons as possible on that council in relation to our capital city.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I move to project code 1302200?
Well, let me put this program first
Oh, yes, sorry.
and
Go ahead.
dispose of that. Honorable members, I put a question that the sum stated for program 133, capital expenditures, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The amount stated for this program, capital, now stands part of the estimates. I propose the question that program 134, capital, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Project code 1302200, community infrastructure improvement projects. Sir, this line also caters for markets. May I ask the Honorable Minister to tell us how many markets and where are the markets located for this line?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We have what we want to be able to, for the first time, and I know the members of, or the residents of Region 6, and those who have responsibility for Region 6 would be happy to know that we are going to, for the first time, create what is called a culture market at Palmyra. That's one. We want to be able to construct Port Kaituma Market, western section of Monrepo Market, rehabilitation of the market at Unity Mahaika, rehabilitation of Rose Hall Municipal Market, construction of Bath Market, construction of Rosignol Railway Line Market, design and construction of Anna Regina Market, rehabilitation of Port Morant Market, rehabilitation of number 79 Market, rehabilitation of Lethem Municipal Market. And later, in the latter part of 2024, we had asked the municipality of Linden to relook at their work program to accommodate some rehabilitation to the market there. So.
Thank you, Minister. Member Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to state the respective sums for the culture market and the other markets she listed a few seconds ago?
Minister.
Thank you very much, please, sir. It's $800 million towards the culture market. We have 100 million towards Port Kaituma, 200 million towards the western section of Monrepo, 75 million for the rehabilitation of the market at Unity, 50 million for the market at Rose Hall, rehabilitation, that is 75 at construction of Bath Market, 50 million for Rosignol Railway Line, 200 million for the design and construction. And I want to pause here, please, sir, with the construction of the Rosignol Railway Line. This is to ensure you have on the roadways persons who are selling in stalls on the roadways, and we want to prevent the obstruction of traffic, but be able to have them ply their trade in a space where they are going to be able to do so legally. And so that's why we're creating this space to, one, take them off the road, but have them also be able to earn an income, continue to earn an income. We have the design and construction of the Anna Regina market. Now that has been a market that has been there for as long as I was a little girl in Essequibo growing up and going to the Anna Regina market. And the honorable member, Mr. Mahi Paul, is also from Essequibo, and so he knows what that market looks like. And I'm sure that he's on board to agree that we can relook at that market.
Thank you, Minister.
Yes, sir.
Sir, she hasn't concluded the sums.
Yes, 200 million for the design of the and the construction of the Anna Regina Port Morant market, 30 million to relook at the rehabilitation of somewhat of the Port Morant market. The number 79 market, 180 million. Lefta Municipal Market, 40 million.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we see the Monrepo market reappearing, and this time it's for phase 2 of the operations at Monrepo market. So may I ask the Honorable Minister a follow-up question? How much money in total with this $200 million for 2025 would we be expending for the Monrepo market?
Minister?
It's about 888 million, please, sir.
Thank you, Minister.
But the Monrepo market has a good stretch of of a building plus of a structure plus the stalls. So it is to accommodate. It has a number of vendors there, please. Or as you would know, as many persons who would go on a Saturday morning early at Monrepo would know.
Mr. Chair, a follow-up, please. Sir, the Parika market, vendors are asked to do the electrical work themselves within the respective stalls. And that, in my view, may be risky, given that the market was, first of all, destroyed by a fire. Um, what, what measure does the ministry have in place to verify that the work being done by these vendors are in keeping with the standard accepted by uh, the Guyana Power and Light and international standards, and how are they verifying it?
Minister?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So rebuilding the first of all, I think the honorable member may know this or is now being educated on it. But in relation to all the markets that are being built by the Ministry of Local Government, the contracts will include electricals to the point of giving them the access to that power, right? From the wire that you will put into each stall or wherever their stall is designated to be or the areas designated to be. Now, beyond that, they all, whether you're at the Parika market, whether you're at the Skeldon market or any other market, you still have to engage the Guyana Power and Light. The ministry also, in collaboration with Public Works, we do collaborate to ensure that there is a monitoring mechanism when they are establishing these circuits and so on to ensure they have the electricity, as well as the Guyana Power and Light they are there. I know for a fact they were there at Parika because we engaged them directly to be there. Now, the other thing is in relation to fire prevention methods, the materials that are being used now to construct a market such as the Parika market, and you will not have that with every single market because some will be like the Lenora concept, which is an open shed, so you won't have all of these walls, but you will have your stalls. And so with the Parika market concept, we are ensuring that the materials that are being used are more user-friendly and safer for the vendors because, I mean, definitely if you're investing in this, we don't want a fire to happen. We don't want them to have to lose as well as we don't want to lose in terms of the investment. So it just makes sense that we are encouraging the contractors and checking on them to make sure that they use these materials that are user-friendly.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you,
Member
Mr.
Mahipor.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the follow-up? May I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the status of the market behind the GCOM building at Hydroni, where there is a big shed, basically, but no movement for months now in terms of work being done or any advancement that I see? May I ask for an update on that market?
All right, so thank you. I'm not sure whether you took a walk down there because
I did.
Well, maybe you took a walk down there. You probably didn't drive because what happened is that the actual market is completed, and we in a very short space of time we had a lot of movement to get that market finished, and we did. And you would know too that the road that was leading to the market was in a state. So that road is also being constructed by Public Works. But just after the budget period, we're looking at both the Parika and the Hydroni market to have vendors utilized.
Sir,
Thank
may
you,
I ask,
Minister.
with your permission, what was the cost for the Hydroni market,
All right, Minister.
given that it's completed, sir, the total cost?
Thank you very much. So we had, I don't know again if you knew this, but perhaps you did because I think you have all this information written down there somewhere. You have the construction of you had the construction of the Hydroni market in different phases, which would have been 3 phases. And all 3 phases, as you know, would cost money. So you can do the calculation. It's 196 and change for the phase 1, 123 for the phase 2 and change, and 115 and change for the phase 3.
150, you said?
15.
15.
One.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I wish to move to project code 190-2900. May I ask the Honorable Minister what will be the subvention to NDCs and municipalities and the city of Georgetown from this line item?
Minister.
The sum of subvention that will be given to the municipalities will continue to be $5 million, but they're also given a
NDCs is 5
grant, the
million.
NDCs, but they're also given a grant, which we did in 2020, since 2021 to 2024. And that grant would have amounted to, and the honorable member can make checks to all NDCs, inclusive of those um, not being in control by the government, but in the opposition hold on those NDCs. They've also received that grant, and that is taking them up to about $9 million to $10 million per year. So we will continue with that, as well as the Georgetown, $30 million we have allocated, New Amsterdam 18, Linden 18, Anna Regina 18. And you can appreciate, because Georgetown is the capital city, we're giving them more than the other municipalities, right? And not to mention, though, that all of these NDCs, well, to mention rather, all of these NDCs and municipalities are also being assisted by the central ministry. So in addition to their subvention that they are controlling based on their work plan, we are also equipping them. For example, in 2025, we will be equipping all NDCs and the municipalities with compactor garbage trucks. We will be equipping the NDCs with bins, and the market areas such as border market area will get a compactor bin. And we are looking at places like densely populated areas like Monrepo and so on. Now, the bins will also be given to the communities. In addition to that, the Honorable Minister of Finance and myself would have, and Minister of Home Affairs would have been present at the fire station on Mandela very recently, where 40 firefighting mobile vehicles were procured and are here to be distributed to several NDCs across the country, equipping them with a first response mechanism that will directly be able to benefit the community, so that we don't have to have a fire truck being called from 3 villages away to come down and so on. And so, plus, we are also building the capacity of the NDCs with putting in auxiliary firefighting officers. So these are things that they're getting besides the subvention, but will be heavily up to the benefit of the residents in these communities and these municipalities.
Thank you, Mr.
Minister.
Chairman. The subvention of 5 million for NDCs, 30 million for Georgetown, 18 for New Amsterdam, and 18 for the rest of the municipalities. That is what was there since 2017. And the grant that is there, I heard the Honorable Minister saying that the grant for NDCs will take them, some of them to $9 million and some to $10 million for NDCs, depending on their work program. Are there grants for these municipalities and the city of Georgetown also? And if so, I know it will depend on their work program. May I ask if there's an amount that is for these municipalities and the city of Georgetown?
Yes, but there is no amount that I can tell you at the moment. Remember, they have not, none of the municipalities, and we're encouraging them like right now to submit their work programs so that we don't have a lapse in time, so to speak, during the year where we are going to have to wait to be able to give out subvention. We don't want that. We really don't want that. We want the communities to be able to move forward, the LDOs to move forward in terms of what they in terms of benefiting the community from these subventions. But they have to be able to do so now, and then we will consider based on that the grant. But each LDOs will receive their subvention in full early in the year.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to move to project code 3600-300.
Go ahead.
So may I ask the Honorable Minister what equipment and for which landfill site will we be procuring new equipment? I'm assuming new equipment.
Minister.
So we have a few. We have the skip lift bins. We have we want to be able to have a high-ab truck to do the derelict, to remove derelicts. We want the 4-inch water pumps. Sorry, the skip lift trucks. A flatbed high-ab truck, 30 skip bins, 2 dump trucks, 200 100-liter bins, and this of course goes towards what I just spoke about in terms of the communities being equipped with bins and some of the market areas, not all, but some of them. But we have to start from somewhere, and we want to be able to do that this year. And again, I am very pleased because I know when we go out to have community engagement, one of the issues that people do raise is the garbage situation in the communities, and the government is ensuring that all sectors are taken care of, and this is a sector that we've had a significant allocation for this year to be able to manage that solid waste efficiently and effectively.
Thank you,
Sir,
Minister.
thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, she did indicate earlier that they're looking at 2 sites to complement the Higgs-Bosch landfill site in Georgetown, and one of this area is still being done through a study. May I ask the Honorable Minister, and they're working hand in hand with the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. May I ask the Honorable Minister what amount from this line is put aside for those studies and surveys with reference to that project?
Honorable Minister.
One of them is for the 25 million and change. That's going to be the beneficiaries of this is going to be about 43,800 households and businesses in those areas, as well as and most of which is what I definitely thought, the construction of most of these will include that particular well, you love a study, but we want to be able to say that we are ensuring that what we're doing is going to have the effect and the impact that we want for the beneficiaries.
Thank you, Minister.
Sir, thank you very much. Sir, earlier the minister was kind enough to say that a site has not been located as yet because of the study, and one was located. So I asked the question, assuming that there's a sum allocated for them to do the necessary studies to find that site. But I hear the answer there being that it will benefit 43,800 households in the area that makes me believe that there is already a known site and a known area. May I ask the Honorable Minister, where is that?
Where is what, the area or the site?
The site for the landfill site.
I
But
think she
Because
answered that 3 times, 2 times before.
no,
Go ahead, Honorable
this is the
Minister.
other one, sir. There were two. This is the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I heard 2 answers, but now you're now bringing back the same question. For the area might be Sue's Dyke to Diamond, but where the site is a different story. Honorable Minister, you have an opportunity
thank
to
you
give
very
us a
much, Mr.
third
Chair.
answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the Honorable, I mean, we've exhausted this, but just to
Yes.
say that the previous government had plans, studies, COIs, and they injected monies into plans, studies, COIs, like the feasibility study and so on. And that's where the money went. Now, Mr. Speaker, I did not say earlier that I was doing a study. I said there was a collaboration with the Lands and Surveys Agency to identify an area that is suitable for the second landfill site. I also said that site has not been identified as yet. So we are still in talks and discussions rather than a survey or study at the moment. And we are still in talks of getting that. It's a topographical identification. It's not a what they injected money into.
Thank
So
you,
I hope
Minister.
this answer is the final answer for this question. That for me it is, please, sir.
He has
Thank you.
um, another 24 minutes to go on this head.
Thank you,
Honorable
Mr.
Member
Chairman. Sir,
Michael.
sir, that does it for me for local government and regional development. And I want to thank the minister and her staff for the questions that they have answered.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable Member Ms. Lawrence.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Could I take the minister back to line item 1902900, project development and assistance? And you did mention that apart from the subvention, that the municipalities and NDCs receive a grant. Is this grant specific? Do your ministry say to these entities that this grant is to be spent, let us say, on salaries or on removal of garbage? Is it specific?
Minister.
As I said before, please, sir, that asked we asked the municipalities and the NECs to submit a work program because look, if we are going to invest money, we have to know that the money is going towards the benefit of those who are living in those areas and will see the benefit from the municipality in that way. And so we want to be able to, when we already gave the subvention, you are working along with your work plan. Now, if we are giving you a grant, what we do is that we inform the local democratic organs, whether they be the municipalities or the NDCs, that look, the ministry is going to give you a grant, but we would like to see how you would be able to spend this grant. Because believe it or not, some of these NDCs and even the municipalities don't use up the grant and it goes over to the next year. Right? I can tell you that because they'll come the next year and they will ask you now to approve that sum that they had from the grant of 2022 or 2021 to be used. And so it also depends on that. It depends on whether they have that. But if they do, say for example, they want to be able to purchase something, a garbage truck that will go towards picking up garbage in the city and it's something that is plausible and so on, we will approve them. If not, we work along with them to revise that plan and the grant can be given then. So it's not, it is towards something specific, but they also have to come and show us that the specific something is going to benefit the residents. But more than that, we want to be able to early in this year, and it's to improve the efficiency of the delivery of that kind of thing, to be able to work with them to get the subvention, and later on, if we do believe that they should be able to get a grant, then we'll do that part.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much. Honorable Member Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, can the minister turn with me to line item 1904-300. It speaks to regional economic transformation, and the legend says projects entails provision for community-driven entrepreneurial interventions. One, could the minister state whether this is in all the regions, whether it is done through the municipalities and the NDCs, or whether this is a program that is run by the ministry? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. It is a program that is run by the ministry. It spans across all 10 administrative regions, and we specifically ensure that there is gender equality in relation to this particular economic transformation program.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable
Follow up,
Ms.
Mr.
Lodge.
Chair. Mr. Chair, could the minister kindly indicate whether communities can put forward projects, or whether the ministry has a program of things which they would be catering for within the year? And how is it that this program is rolled out? How do you roll it out?
Honorable Minister.
So it's a program that is ensuring the development of persons who have, I don't want to say small businesses, but is on the verge of starting their entrepreneurial career and want to be self-employed. And so what happens is that if you have a small shop in a community and the community can put that forward, right, or the person themselves can approach the ministry. And if they do have small shops, for example, in Sophia, we would have been able to work with about 100 persons in Sophia. And the Honorable Minister isn't here, Minister Kwame McCoy, and so on would know this. We were able to work with about 100 persons in there who are starting up these small businesses and small shops. And so we are able to move them from one level to the next with this.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question.
Sir. Sir,
Honorable member, Mr. Vince Roy George.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister just a follow-up back on 1902900 be kind enough to lay over for the year 2024 that which was expended in Region 5 by NDCs, the grant and not the usual subvention, and also be kind enough to give us what will be given to Region 5 for 2025. And can you at the same time confirm whether all NDCs in Region number 5 would have received that special grant, and what was the total amount expended based on the special grant for Region 5?
So what I will tell you is that we can lay over that we have given the NDCs all of their subventions in Region 5. All 70 NDCs received in full their subvention for 2024 plus a grant. And the NDCs in Region 5, in terms of what you're asking, if what we're giving is to the region or to the NDCs, because you're asking 2025 for the region.
No, I'm specific NDCs in Region 5.
They will be getting their grant, their full subvention. Sorry, their full subvention of $5 million.
Mr. Chair.
And then we will work with them in terms of the grant. If
Mr.
there
Chair,
is a grant.
what I did want to know also, Minister, is the amount that was spent in 2024 based on your allocation and what you would have spent.
Honorable member, let me just stop you there.
Laid
Please.
over, sir. That's what I was asking.
Please.
Not for it to give me.
Last
to
year
leave,
expenditure, we're not examining. We are
And-
examining the expenditure for which this line item is catering for in 2025.
Thank you, Chair.
You can always pose a question to the minister in writing.
And to say, sir, what is the total amount to be given to the region for the NDCs for 2025?
You have 10 NDCs and in Region 5, and they will be getting $5 million each as their full subvention. So 5 multiplied by 10.
No, Minister. Minister,
Honorable Minister, just 1 second. Mr. Jordan, am I hearing correct? You're
I
asking
was
if
up-
this money is given to the region to give to the NDC?
Mr.
Because
Chair,
that's what you said, right?
Mr. Chair, I was specific, not the substanding subvention, but the grant, not the standing. I know that the subvention is $5 million for NDCs,
Mhm.
but the grant,
Okay.
because the grant would vary, the minister said earlier, based on the work program, correct? And so that's what I'm asking for, because I can't determine the grant.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Let me just say, the grant is not an entitlement. The subvention is, but they both come under the subvention program. But what we have been doing is to further equip them financially. We have been asking them, look, submit a grant. We know that you would need to be able to do XYZ in the community. We want to be able to help you. And so this is the approach that we have taken. Now, what we have also found is not all of the NDCs have expended their grant from a previous year. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you will get $4 million or you will get $5 million again. So it's, we have to be able to look at it logically too, because you are, again, investing and expending monies in them. But again, we want to be able to work with the NDCs to get them to a place where they can carry out their functions as is in the communities.
Thank you, Minister. Quite clear. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 134, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable Minister, we thank you and your staff for taking us through.
Thank you very much, Mr.
agency
Chair, and I'd also like to thank my staff of the Ministry of Local Government who have been working very hard for the last year, at least that I've been there, and probably, and I'm sure before, but that have worked really hard to put together our programs and execute those programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, we went through your agency with a few minutes to spare, 24 minutes. You may want to ask, if they're not here, some of your other regions that you have to defend to look at the timing. Because yesterday we had a situation where we suspended for PM.
Thank you very much, please.
I invite you now to have your staff for agency 7 to 1, region number 1, Barima Winey, to join you as we consider the expenditure allocated for this agency. Honorable members, I invite you to turn to pages 322 and 323. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 711, current expenditure, stands
Yes.
part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, let me first of all say good morning to members of the National Assembly, to the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, and the members of the RDC from the Barima-Winey region. Mr. Chair, I have one question on this program, and it's for on line item 6116, contracted employees. Staffing details shows an increase for 2025 by 20 contracted employees. And there is also an increase of about $34 million. Could the Honorable Minister give the designation of the most senior person, maybe the 5 most senior persons under this line item? And if she could probably state as well how this increase will enhance the human resource capacity under this program. Thank you.
Thank you very
Minister.
much. Sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, honorable member. We do have a number of persons on board, the administrative staff that will definitely assist in terms of the execution and implementation of the programs in the region. And we have an assistant regional executive officer, and is perhaps the highest. And that person will be earning $208,000 of those persons that are employed, so newly employed. You have senior personnel officer, district development officer, community liaison officer, stores clerk, administrative assistant, handyman, clerk 3, and those will definitely enhance the capacity of the administrative staff.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable member,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a follow-up.
go ahead.
So is the Honorable Minister saying there's an addition of an assistant to the REO? I know there's one in Port Kaituma, there's one in Moruca. Well, Matakai and Moruca. Is there a new one in addition to those in Mabruma?
Honorable Minister.
This is to give support to specifically Barometer, please, sir. So you know Barometer, I mean, you know Region 1 fairly well. And you know Barometer is a very vulnerable community. And so we wanted to give an extra, some extra assistance in that community to develop the community and manage the community well.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 711, current expenditure, and I put the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated stands part of the estimates. Members, please turn to pages 324 and 325. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 712 stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox. Honorable members, I now put Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on line item 6116, again, contracted employees. In 2024, it was nil, and in 2025, an increase by 10. So a similar question. Who are these in terms of the designation and their specific roles in this program? Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Go ahead,
And so, sorry, Mr. Chair. To ensure that, again, we are able to carry out to execute and implement the programs that we have, we need to have certain labor skills and certain skills. So why you will see it going from nil to 10 and then 10 again in 2025 is that we've had 5 laborers, 2 clerk of works, 1 equipment operator, 2 staff transitioning from the line item 6117 to 6116. And we've had a carpenter and a heavy duty vehicle driver.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, under line item 6251, maintenance of roads. Could the Honorable Minister state whether or not provisions under this line item is made for the Barabina Road? I know Barabina had several challenges over the years.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. So we have, under the region, we don't have Barbina, but I would want to, but Public Works, the central ministry will be looking at that.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A follow-up question under the same line item. What about 1 mile Orinoco and 4 mile leading on to Train Line Road? Any provision under this line item for those?
Thank you.
Those
Minister.
are also from Central Ministry Public Works, please.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Could the Honorable Minister state then 3 roads in Mabruma and possibly 2 in Moruca that are catered for under this line item? Thank you.
Minister.
So what we have is in Moruca, and we will be doing repairs to the gravel surface road for Parakees, for Kamwata, for High Maruni, and for the surface road at Chinese Landing.
Thank you. My final question under this program is maintenance of other infrastructure for $23 million. In Port Kaituma, to be specific, what are the other infrastructures will be catered for there?
Minister.
So we'll be having a purchasing of utility poles and electrical line hardware for the replacement in the Mabaruma district. We have purchasing of utility poles and electrical lines in the Maruka district. We have repairs to guard huts, repairs to culverts at Mabaruma and Maruka Road.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 712, current expenditure stands part. Sorry, Honorable Member, Miss Dawn. Is it Dawn or Hastings Williams? Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Line item 6252, bridges. Honorable Minister, could you say how much of that sum will be spent in the Matakai sub-region, how much in Mabaruma sub-region, and how much in the Muruka sub-region? And which bridges? Thank you.
Minister?
So let me just tell you what we're going to be spending on the Matakai sub-region. So we have repairs to log bridges along the road to Baramita. And that's going to be like an 8 million allocation. And then we have the Maruka area timber bridge at Mora. And that's going to be a 6 million allocation.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the
Chair.
sums. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just like to turn the minister's attention to volume indicators there. In 2024, you were able to touch 3 communities with regards to communities accessing electricity, and your projection for 2025 is 16, an increase by 13, which is very good. And 13 is a good representation, providing that we have a large number of communities in Region 1. But could you explain how was it only accessible to 3 in 2024 and not probably 6 or 7? Was there any specific challenges?
Minister?
So we've had Rincon, Quebana, and Mora that benefited from the electricity in 2024.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 712, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it, sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Please turn to pages 326 and 327. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 713, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 6112, senior technical. With an increase of about 200 plus million, senior technical will have an increase in terms of staffing details from 233 to 335. I know this covers education, which is very important in Region 1, but could the Honorable Minister say where exactly these technical senior personnel will be stationed in terms of the 3 districts, and how do they see them providing technical support, especially when Region 1 has been struggling with regards to education performances? Thank you.
Minister?
Well, first of all, Mr. Chair, I don't think Region 1 is struggling in terms of education. I would say that given that 22 schools were built under this government in Region 1, that is development at its highest in terms of education. Now, these teachers and these staff that we're talking about under the senior technical, and I'll turn my attention to the other part of your, that part of your question, they will be across the 3 sub-districts. And we are ensuring that they are going to be placed in schools. Now, you have what you have now, more than ever before in this country, is a ratio of teachers to students that you've never had. And these teachers are going to be in schools ensuring that we up the quality of education. That's the support that they will be giving. contributing to the quality of education. And I know that you will, once you're back here in Parliament next year, and you are going to tell me that that has improved in terms of the quality based on the fact that we've had a number of teachers now being distributed across the schools.
Thank you, Minister.
And trained at CPC as well.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm pleased with the goals by the ministry, of course by the region, but the minister is responsible for answering. And I, as a teacher for over 21 years, I work equally with the region in education to ensure that we realize our objectives as well. I want to turn the minister's attention though, Mr. Chair, to the indicators under this program. And in 2023, the target was 23.4 number of pupils passing with 50% or more at all 4 subjects at the National Grade 6 assessment. And the achievement was 12, which is falling below 50% of the achieved target. And in 2025, you're now setting a target of 40%. So my question is, what specific measures under this program will be implemented to ensure that this target is achieved?
Minister.
So, what it is that's going to be happening, first of all, those very technical staff that we spoke of earlier in the previous answer that will be going to all the schools across the region, those teachers will contribute heavily again to the quality of the education, as well as there will be literacy officers who are focusing and zoning in on upping the literacy level of the students in Region 1. And that will definitely improve the quality and as well as on the curriculum of the Ministry of Education within the schools in the regions.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a follow-up. So I do know...
Mr. Chair, if I may just mention, you would recall in 2024, we had strikes being hit across the schools in the regions. And for a number of weeks, children were not being taught, they were out of schools, and this contributed heavily to a learning loss.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, I'm aware that there are literacy officers, yes, across the region in order to enhance literacy. Is there any provision, since we have an equally challenging task at the mathematics as well, is there any expert in the mathematical area, not just literacy, but numeracy as well? Do we have any of those, or is there plans to have those, especially in the 3 districts? Thank you.
Minister.
There are specialist teachers that will be deployed into the regions every month, as well as this is not something that is unique to the region or even the country. This is unique to this is the entire Caribbean that is facing an issue with the mathematics. And as the Minister of Education stated previously when she had her estimates, that they are working assiduously with the math curriculum, especially zoning in and having targeted programs towards enhancing maths in the schools.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 6242, maintenance of buildings. While I do agree with the minister that schools are being built, we also need to maintain the existing buildings. Could the Honourable Minister just provide a breakdown of the buildings to be maintained in Mabruma and Maruka?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would be very happy to, under this line item 6242. We have repairs that will be done to the St. Nicholas Primary Teaching Quarters, the Kwabana Primary Teaching Quarters, the Karakaburi Primary Teaching Quarters, the Kamwata Nursery, Waramuri Teaching Quarters, Santa Rosa Nursery, Kariako Teachers Quarters, Kariako Primary, Chinese Landing Primary Teachers Quarters, St. Bede's Primary Teachers Quarters, St. Bede's Primary, Kachikamo Primary Teachers Quarters, St. John's Teachers Quarters, Savannah Blackwater Primary, St. Nenan's Primary, Blackwater Primary, Blackwater Primary Teachers Quarters, Wauna Primary, Posororo Primary, Barabina Primary, Northwest Secondary, Mabaruma Primary, the Education Office at Mabaruma, Obadiah Teachers Quarters, St. Anthony's Primary, Paiwakuru Primary, Pawakuru Teachers Quarters, Arakaka Primary, Port Kaituma Teachers Quarters, EO Living Quarters, and then we have.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Mr. Chair, just want to turn our attention to volume 2 and with reference to matriculation rate. Again, in 2023, there was a very significant number compared to the achievement in 2024, which is 9%. We are now setting a target of 25% for 2025. I'm aware of the many challenges, like I said before, but I would like to know the specific measures at the secondary level to ensure that this matriculation rate is achieved.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable member, the Ministry of Education, and this is something you are aware of, the Ministry of Education has dispensed resources towards the schools in Region 1, and they are there already to ensure the quality of education is improved. And as well as we do have the specialists, the mathematics specialists. This is, you're not even listening, honorable member. I guess you don't care to hear the answer. It's not because he's listening to you. Now, Mrs. Chair, as I have been saying, there are specialists that are there for mathematics, and there are resources that are being made available and on time through the regional system, as well as directly from the Ministry of Education through the regional system to ensure that the schools are well equipped to have the reading resources as well as the learning resources.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 6292, dietary. Is this line item specific to the provision of meals for the dormitory schools throughout the region, specific to Northwest Secondary, Port Kaituma Secondary, and the Santa Rosa Secondary?
Minister.
And if we could get the total number of students being catered for in each dormitory. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yes, but in addition to all those you have called, we also have the Quebana Secondary that we're catering for, and that's coming on board for 2025, and we're catering for 320 students.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 713. Current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes. Honorable member, Ms. Dawn Hastings Williams.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Comrade Chair, through you. I'm looking at line 6261, local traveling and subsistence. Could the Honorable Minister say to this House what mechanisms are in place for those teachers, literacy officers, or teachers who have to leave their school, travel to distant or other schools to assist in literacy or numeracy programs, to ensure that they receive their subsistence on time? You know, when you leave your school to go and work at other places,
Honorable Minister.
sometimes they take months to receive their little subsistence that they have.
In Region 1, they're receiving their subsistence on time that I am aware of and that I have been so advised by the region.
Thank you, Minister.
And provisions will also be made for their advance to be given. Also, in relation to the transportation, they are traveling with, the region is providing that, and with the Red Horse Self has been traveling, boats are being made available to them readily for their transportation.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 713, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's turn to pages 328 and 329. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 714, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 6302, training including scholarships. Is there any provision under this line item, Honorable Minister, for training of critical staff members, especially for the Port Kaituma Cottage Hospital, which the theater is presently non-operational because of the lack of trained staff? There is no provision as well of ultrasound services, even though it is readily available because, again, of lack of trained staff.
Honorable Minister.
So what we have in this training, line item 6302, is a routine IPC training for 3 times yearly to 6 times yearly. Then you have the continuing medical educations for doctors and medics, continuing nursing education for nurses, upgrading training for the LMIS, the VCT, to the CHWs, which is the community health workers.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, under contracted employees 6116, we'll have 27, an increase of 26 from 2024. I am aware that the Korosima Health Post completed 2 years ago is non-operational as yet because of lack of staffing as well. The mortuary at Baramita Cottage Hospital is non-operational. Bodies have to be transported to Kaituma, many miles away. And the Tassiwini 5-star and Big Creek posts are also non-operational, even though completed more than a year ago. Could the Honorable Minister state if these employees or provisions are made for staffing at those far-flung communities, which are very critical to healthcare? Thank you.
So thank you very much. The trained officers were trained at the end of they completed their training at the end of December. So the operationalization of the buildings will be had before the end of February, but medical outreaches have been conducted with those very officers from then to now. And so we will ensure that all that as a matter of fact, we already have it on board, all of those that you have mentioned, to be in operation before the end of February.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So we look forward to the staffing very soon. Let's turn to 6264, vehicle spares and service. Is there any provision under this line item, Honorable Minister, for the servicing of the whitewater transportation vehicle? And any provision for maybe purchasing Wongna health post, since the last one was crashed by the medics?
Wongna had already purchased this. First of all, please, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, this particular line item is vehicle spares and services, not new purchases. Not new purchases, but I'd like to inform the honorable member that Wongna already purchased a ATV last year.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And with regards to whitewater, so I asked if there is provision for servicing of that one that is presently down.
Yes, in 2025, this line item will also cover the ATV for Whitewater.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, maintenance of buildings. While I am aware that we need to maintain what we have, and it's very critical as well, even though I do agree that health posts are being built, new ones, as one was recently commissioned in Batiro, where I'm from, and I'm very pleased because I raised this since 2020, and I'm happy that we have one right now. So could you say which outlying buildings are catered for under this line item, not within the Mabruma central area, but outlying regions, the riverine communities? Thank you.
Minister?
Thank you, honorable member. Since we are on it, I will lay to you all of which we are doing. So repairs to the Port Kaituma District Hospital, repairs to environmental health quarters, repairs to St. Mary's Health Hut, repairs to Lower Kaituma Health Post, repairs to Paiwakuro Health Post, repairs to St. John's Health Center, repairs to Waramuri Health Center, repairs to Karaburi Health Hut, repairs to Kokrit Health Hut, and repairs to Kachikamo Health Hut.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I want to go back to questions asked earlier. So this is a follow-up to one of the questions asked earlier with regards to the Barometer Cottage Hospital and the functioning of the mortuary there. What systems are being put in place present to operationalize the morgue there?
Minister?
The Central Ministry of Health is overseeing that particular mortuary and that project, but it is slated for 2025.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, sir.
Honorable Member Dr. Cummings.
Yes, through the chair. I'm just following up on one of the questions that the Honorable Member Cox asked concerning training, because the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Health would have alluded to having persons there, capable persons to do ultrasounds and so. So we're talking about telemedicine here if you don't have the skills. So which, like for instance, confirms pregnancy on a mother. So through the chair, do you have adequate staff, skilled staff to do ultrasound at this point of time, or the telemedicine hasn't kicked in as yet?
Honorable Minister.
There are 17 sites for telemedicine in Region 1, implemented through this government in the last 4 years, and there are ultrasound services available and that skill that is required. But you know, telemedicine specifically is to ensure that even where you have that skills gap, that you will have a person who is there connecting with Georgetown, for example, that will be able to have that skilled person in Georgetown guide them on what to do there. So that is a transfer, a direct transfer through digitization, through telemedicine of the skills.
Is it being done at present? That's what I'm asking.
It is being done. It is being done through 17 sites.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members,
Thank you, Mr.
now go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to go back to maintenance of other infrastructure, 6255. Is there any provision under this line item for the well at the Mabruma Regional Hospital, which was originally budgeted for just about $250,000, I think, and we are far beyond $7 million, and the target for the number of water that it should be supplying to the hospital is very minimal. What provisions are in place for that project? Thank you.
No, the well will be done by GWI, not through the regional system. But of course, we have a monitoring mechanism through the regional system.
I remember Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just before I pose my question,
to the honorable member, let me take this opportunity to say a pleasant morning and also to welcome our pupils and students from the schools in the southern district of our beautiful nation. Mr. Chair, I now turn the honorable member attention to line item 6252, maintenance of bridges. I note, Madam Minister, that we have a $3 million increase from 2004 to 2025. Can you say, can you provide a disaggregation of the bridges and where these are located? Thank you. And the costs associated with each of the bridges to be maintained. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, honorable member. So yes, we do have a $3 million. I mean, if we kept the same budget every year, honorable member, we couldn't be improving on a lot. So we've increased it by 3 million, but I'll give you the disaggregation. So we have Unity Square, that is 3.5 million. Kachikamo, 2.5 million. St. John's, 2 million. St. Mary's, 2 million. And then we will look at any other bridges that need to be repaired during that.
Thanks, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank the honorable member for her response. May I now turn the honorable member attention to line item 6254, maintenance of sea defense and river defenses. My first question is the health services we're looking at for the region. So I just want to figure out I'm trying to figure out in my mind whether health, the health component in the region is responsible for maintenance of sea and river defenses. And if so, where are these sea and river defenses? This is not public works, this is ministry, this is health services in the region.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the honorable member, I'm not sure, perhaps in her time as a minister, she didn't have this line item being placed at all. But we do, and it's because of the fact that we do have to have drainage and irrigation and revetment around the health centers and so on. And you know that is a different geography from what we have out here in the coastland. So we have Sacred Heart, that is going to be 1 million. Union Square, 1 million. St. Anselm, 1 million. Barima Blackwater, Kachikamo, St. John's, Lower Kaituma, St. Mary's, and St. Dominic's.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, would the honorable minister go with me to line item 6221, drugs, 6221, drugs and medical supplies. And my question is, what mechanism is now in place to ensure that the expired drugs and medical supplies in the various sub-regional health facilities are disposed of in a timely manner?
Honorable Minister.
So more than an allocation on the 6221, that is more of a policy and measures being put in place. And they do have a weekly monitoring system in place to ensure that by the senior environmental health officer, that weekly monitoring system to ensure that they have the drugs that are close to expiration date being either consumed or be close to an expiration date, madam. We know that in your government you throw out a lot of expired drugs, but I'm trying to explain to you. I am trying to explain
Minister,
to you.
You've been going really, really well speaking to the chair. Yes.
I'm trying to explain, Mr. Speaker, that if you
And
have
you're doing a
drugs
great
that are
job with
close
it.
to expiration, say you have a month of expiration, and then they're doing a weekly monitoring, and they see
Exactly.
that the expiration is that a month away, but that it can be consumed within the time before the expiration. Obviously, we will not waste the drugs. But if they are continuing to do that to ensure that we are not utilizing expired drugs, that they are disposed of, and that they are restocked within a timely manner.
Thank you very much,
And
Honorable.
also there is a mechanism that is being placed now in all of the health centers and hospitals, health centers, health hotspots, whatever you want to call them at that point, or whatever they are, that if residents are having chronic illnesses, and such as you're a diabetic patient, you're hypertensive, that each health center will have a register of all of those residents, and they will call those residents or go to where they are, depending on where they are, to inform them that they can now uplift a 3-month supply of their medication, and 1 month prior to the expiration of that 3 months, that they are recalled to come in within that 1 month period to restock for the next 3 months. And that is to ensure that they have a continuous flow of their medication.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister tell the House how many environmental officers are employed by the region under this head?
Minister.
So we have 2 environmental health officers and 7 of the health assistants. 7.
And to visit the sub-regions, the 3 sub-regions, all of these health centers every week.
Yeah, yes, they have where they have a monitoring. They have a monitoring tool that they are utilizing. And they do have connectivity in quite a number of areas, so they are utilizing that. I know this because separate and apart from Region 1, I myself visited Region 7 when I went to Camarang, and I can tell you that they also have a monitoring mechanism there.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, may I turn the honorable member attention to line item 6251, security services. I note last year we approved one sum, and then we had a supplementary paper where we approved a difference for this particular region on the health services. But I note that for 2025, you have a small increase there. So can you say to the House what has occasioned this small increase, and whether you will be returning to the House late in the year for supplemental? Because we know, with security, we always get the excuses, Mr. Chair, about, rates increase and as a result of extra manpower being placed here, there, and everywhere. So is this amount suffice, or we will see you returning late in the year for supplementary? And what, Madam Minister, would have occasioned this increase? Thank you very much.
Thank you
Very much, Mr.
Minister.
Chair. Well, first of all, there is no 6251 line item here. So I'm not sure
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. You don't have to be so
Hold on a
difficult.
second. Hold on. The minister's on her feet. And you're sorry? Point of order? I judge. Please, we've been going great. Minister, go ahead.
Thank you, please, sir. So there is no line item of 6251, so I'd like the honorable member to point me to the line item that she is speaking of.
Thank you. If there's a 0, you don't have to
She's,
offer any answer.
I am not offering any
Thank you.
there is no line item.
Our members, clearly we are trying to generate our questions on the feet, or we have to change our glasses. I'm putting the question. Honorable, I put a question that the sum stated for program 714 current stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's move to program 715 current pages 330 and 331. And if I have any such actions again as the Honorable Member Ferguson, I will start putting. Please, let's respect persons who are given the floor. Let's respect persons who are given the floor. And I propose a question that the sum stated for 715 current stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we are aware that the present government stresses a lot on agricultural development and trying to make agriculture what it probably should be. In the region, Honorable Minister, do you agree that this budgetary allocation is adequate given the large amount of activities, let's say, surrounding agriculture that would like to be implemented across the region? Is it adequate? And second question, it says a number of training sessions delivered to farmers. In 2024 was 55, and now we're setting a target of 80. Given the geographical layout of the region as well, it's very expensive to reach them or for them to reach Central for these training. So again, is it adequate? And could you tell us the number of training sessions you're likely to implement under this program?
Thank you very much. Minister?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So this is the agricultural program under the regional budget for region number 1. And while we do have a sum that will cater towards what we specifically had as a plan for agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture's budget also quite supplements heavily all 10 administrative regions. And so we do have that through the region, that collaborative effort with the Ministry of Agriculture. The training, we will also be collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture. So what we put forward in our work plan here and work program for the Ministry of Finance, the allocation that we have gotten, we do believe that it can work for us.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I do agree that agriculture is very important and it should play a key role in the development of our region. So I have no further question under this program.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for 713 current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Just to let everyone know that Opposition Chief Whip has asked if I can only spend 1 hour as allocated on this head. We have 13 minutes remaining. I will stick to his wishes because the savings that have been generated most likely will be used elsewhere. But he asked that I stick to 1 hour allocated for this particular head, the Opposition Chief Whip's request. Honorable members, let's turn to page 529. And I propose a question that the sum stated for program 711, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
No question, sir.
Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 711, capital, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. For program 712 capital, I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. The honorable member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, project code 1100-200, bridges. Could the honorable minister state where these capital projects with reference to bridges will be constructed in the Mabruma district?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We have in the Mabruma District bridge and revetment at the Barima End Access Road, Mabruma, and we have the construction of footpath bridge at Mackenzie, Yarakita, Mabruma.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much,
Member Cox.
Mr. Chair. Roads 1400400. So now that you are constructing the bridges, the Barima End Road, is similar projects being undertaken for the construction or the rehabilitation rather of this road? It is a key link between Marijuana and Central Mabruma. So is there any project being undertaken there for the rehabilitation of that stretch of road there? Thank you.
Minister.
I'm advised in, Mr. Chair, that in 2024, the contract for that road was executed.
Thank you, Minister.
It's ongoing, but the contract was signed for the road in 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So a follow-up, just to rephrase the question, is there any additional provision or is it adequate and it is likely to be completed soon?
Minister.
There is no provision in 2025 for that.
Member Cox. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Power supply 2601400, provision for electricity distribution networks. I am aware also that communities have been linked to this main grid in Mabruma. Under this line item, which additional communities are we targeting in the Matakai district and the Moruca district as well?
Minister.
Okay. So what I have here is for the Moruca district. So what we have is extension of Kumaka electrical grid. That is to the Rincon. Extension of the Kumaka to Mora. Establishment of electrical grid at Quibano. And we have the establishment of electrical distribution network in Karakaburi. Extension of Kumaki electrical grid to Horadaya.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could the Honourable Minister provide a breakdown with reference to those in Moruca? Thank you.
Minister.
So that's going to be for the retention payment we have for 3 of them, which is for the electrical grid to Rincon, Mora, and Quibano. So for the first, you have 2.8 million, second 3.3 million and 30,000, 3 million and 154,000. For the new ones, we have the upgrading of switchgear and synchronization of the generator sets at Moruca. That's 15 million. The establishment of the electrical distribution network in Karaburi at 60 million. Extension of the Kumaki electrical grid to Horadaya, 22 million.
Thank you, Minister. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with regards to Matakai, no provision is given under this line item. That was the second part of my question, or the first part rather.
That is run by that is already in operation through the Office of the Prime Minister.
Member Cox.
No further questions, sir.
All right, members, I now put a question that the sum stated for 712 capital now stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for program 713 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. The honorable member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, sir. Sir, could you advise how many minutes remaining?
Yes, 7.
7. Thank you, sir. 1202600 buildings. Is there any provision under this line item for the secondary schools that are presently under construction, or those are undertaken by central ministry? And this is with reference to the Hosororo Secondary School that is under construction and the one in Maruka, Kwebana Secondary School. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you very much, please, Mr. Chair. Those are being done through the Central Ministry of Education, not through the region.
Thank you. Cox.
Thank you,
member.
Mr. Chair. So could the Honorable Minister provide a breakdown of this allocated sum with regards to the buildings that will be constructed? Thank you.
Minister.
Well, what we have as two rollover projects is the construction of the Sen Center and the extension of the Wallaba Primary School at Maruka. For the new ones, we have rehabilitation of St. Anthony's Primary School. We have the reconstruction of the Paiwakuru Primary School, the extension of the education department at Mabaruma. Major rehabilitation of Mabaruma Primary, renovation of Yarakita Primary, reconstruction of Kariako Primary, and the extension of Arakaka Primary, construction of sanitary blocks to various schools in Region 1, Kariako, in Region, number 1, Kariako, construction of security huts to various schools in Yarakita Primary, Yarakita Nursery, Whitewater Nursery, and Kamwata Primary.
Thanks, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. With regards to the rehabilitation of the Mabruma Primary, so just specific to the Mabruma Primary, could you provide additional details in terms of specification for the rehabilitation and probably the total cost to be expended under this line item? Thank you.
Thank you. Minister.
Thank you very much. So we have the size of the building is a 30 by 142 flat. Building at 25 by 80 flat, concrete for accommodating 522 students and 28 teachers.
Member Cox. Honourable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for program 713 capital stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it, sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Program 714, I propose the question that the sum stated herein for this capital program stands part of the estimates. Member Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 1202400, buildings under health, provisions for health facilities, quarters, and payment of retention. With specific to the riverine communities again, which communities are likely to benefit under this line item? Communities that probably may not have benefited before. New project in terms of health facilities.
Thank you, member. Minister.
So what we have is the projects that are rollover projects. So you have the construction of health hut sanitary block, living quarters at Haimaruni, Arwanza, Arukamouth, Cloudland, Unity Square, and then at Waramuri, Maruka.
Thank you, Minister. Before I take Mr. Cox's next question, Opposition Chief Whip says you can go for 10 minutes beyond 12:36. So you have right now 12 minutes remaining.
Thank you, gracious Whip. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Land and Water Transport 2401500. Provision for ambulances. Is there any provision here for the purchasing of new river ambulances for Region 1?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We already have 4 river ambulances, so we won't be purchasing river ambulances in this allocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could, follow-up question, Honorable Minister. Are the 4 ambulances would you say they are working adequately?
Yes, they are,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, so for under this line item, so minusing ambulances, vehicles, boats, and engines, is this specific to the Department of Health for the transportation of maybe staff, or this is for communities in assisting them with their transportation on the health?
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Minister.
Mr. Chair. So what we have is 2 40 horsepower boat and engine, and they will be servicing the communities of Sacred Heart, St. Mary's, Lower Kaituma, Paikuru, Barimo, Blackwater, Savannah, Red Hill, 5 Star, Falstop. And that is to ensure that every riverine community has a mode of transportation for emergency, for riverbed, house-to-house vaccination, for shut-ins and things like that. So you also have 4x4 ambulance, the ambulance for the Mabaruma Regional Hospital under this line item. And that will cater for emergency patients from land communities of Mabaruma sub-region. The Whitewater ambulance will cater for the entire Whitewater and also 2 border points, Gaja and Bamboo Landing. Then you have a canter truck for the Mabaruma Regional Hospital. This will be used to transport the drugs from the wharf to the main regional bond and then from the bond to the last mile distribution.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr.
Member
Chair.
Cox.
So just for confirmation, Honorable Minister, you're saying there is a new provision for a new ambulance for the Mabaruma district?
A 4x4 ambulance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And that has brought me to the end of questioning for the Honorable Minister. Thank you for your time.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for program 714 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, same page, program 715 capital. And I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 715 capital stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we will let the assembly resume. Let's take the suspension for lunch and see if we could get back here by 1:30.
So